Today's matchup. Bunny. Solar. Dark. ByuN.
And we're back. We're ready to go into our winners match now. Another TVZ here. This is going to be a good one, too. It's going to be Bunny versus Dark.
Yeah, Bunny versus Dark. Dark looking very scary so far here today. 2-0ing ByuN in really convincing fashion despite, some mishaps there in game number 1. Still able to pick up the win. And then game 2, I mean, just felt so solid from start to finish. Was never really in any danger of suffering big damage. And Bunny, he looked good against Solar, but I'm worried for him here because it feels like Dark is just on another level, particularly in this GSL. I mean, it feels like he might be the strongest player of the tournament right now. I know that Maru is in it, but
no, I mean, I feel more Dark. I was doing Valorant the other day, and they were asking me about this tournament. I was saying, I think Dark's going to take it. People were saying, really, not even Maru. I said, look, Maru looks really good, but Dark never looks weak. He looks really, really on top of everything, and there doesn't seem to be any obvious Achilles heel with his play. Like, even that game that he beat ByuN, and it's like, I don't know, man. I mean,
we were talking about this on the break. Like, you lose an entire mineral line and all of your queens, and then you still win. It's like, okay, I guess you're just not going to lose any single game in this series, probably. It's just wild stuff. We'll see if Bunny's able to cook up something, though. I'm sure he has a game plan. Whatever his best TVZ build is, he's going to be coming through with it right now. Because if Bunny wins this, he's going to the semifinals, and he's going to play against Terran. And he wants to go to that offline stage of the GSL.
All right, we're going to go to Grezvin for map 1. This is the winner's match. Whoever wins this goes on one of the 2 spots remaining in the Final 4.
Mystery Gaming, Bunny. DKZ Gaming, Dark.
Okay.
This should be an exciting series.
This might be the best series of Group B, to be honest. You were mentioning this earlier, State, and I think it's totally true, is like, now we see what Bunny really wants to do in this matchup.
Oh,
he didn't want to show it against Solar.
If he wins, this might be the last TVZ that he plays in this GSL.
Very
up until
true.
next season, right? I mean, unless he meets a Zerg in the finals, because whoever he wins, he's going to play after this match. He'll play either, I can't recall if it's the winner or he'll play the loser of
Group
the loser,
A, which was Maru.
So he'll play a TVT against Maru. Nice prize for getting first place, bro.
Yeah. Good job winning that. Now go up against Maru.
But yeah, he wants to just close this one out right now because if he can win this series, he might just be done placing Zerg entirely, and that would be a big weight off his shoulders. He can primarily prepare just for TVT. And so if there's any tricks up his sleeve at all, if he has any special builds, anything planned that, he might have been originally saving for, a semifinal match or a final match, we're going to see it right now in this series. He's 2 maps away from going to the semifinals.
Yeah. Again, a best of 3 for such an important position here in this tournament. Now, this game, it's been a pretty ordinary build here. We have like a slightly later command center, but tech is coming. And then, I don't know if we're going to see a whole lot early on from either of these guys. Now, Dark does seem to know when to cheese. I've said this in many other casts, but I'll just say it again. In a best of 5, he'll at least cheese once. But I don't know about a best of 3. It's hard to say. And also, I feel like the volatility of a best of 3 with really strong players, you really don't want to take too many risks.
I feel like if he wins here on Grezvin, we might see it in map number 2. That's the biggest chance that I think we see a cheese coming out of Dark in this series.
And one other thing to point out as well is that we were talking about this a lot from Bunny's perspective, but we should mention from Dark's perspective, he has a lot more Terrans ahead no matter what.
Yeah.
So, I'm curious how exactly he approaches this.
So far for Dark, it's only Terrans in the playoffs right now, and he will be facing Maru if he's able to win this game today. So Lings are going to come up here into the natural ramp. Depot not able to get up because the Marine was on top of it, but This isn't going to be damage coming through for Dark. He might try to get one SCV. Isn't going to get it, but this is full scouting information. So, I mean, you think about the cost of like a scan for Terran, for example. This is kind of a similar play here for Dark. Those Forlings getting in, you know, it's only 2 larvae coming into the main base, getting the exact picture of what Bunny's game plan is, confirms there's no really fast 3rd CC, knows there's a reactor Hellions on the way. I think Dark is going to be happy with this. He should have a... He should not be caught by surprise at all, either from the Cloak Banshee or from the Hellions. And, you know, Dark, his defense already today in this matchup has been so solid that, you know, you have to think that if he's coming into this with a very good idea of what is going to be coming his way... Well, actually, I say that. Hyping it up, but no, actually, this is dealt with very well.
Yeah.
4 drones in total going down.
So, did not pay for itself.
No.
And the Queens are going to make quick work of that. He's even able to pull some Lings away so they don't take full damage.
Not gonna lie, I was a little bit scared there, talking about how Dark should be able to defend this easily,
Yeah.
and then I see all the Lings,
Yeah.
I see all the drones line up, and I'm like, wait a second.
You see them
No.
wedge into the drill line, you're like, oh, God.
Just the worst call of all time.
Kind of an unusual build, though. I mean, the Hellions come out, and then there's Banshees later on. Now, remember, you know, you get Banshees and Hellions like this early on, and you don't have as much kind of meat to your push. He is also getting a 3rd command center, so he basically wants to try to throw out these kind of finesse plays here and there and see what kills he can get, and then take a much slower 3rd base. But he's not going to have that girth of Marines. He's not going to have lots of medevacs, and so he may end up with a little bit of a wimpy push later on in this game.
Yeah, I feel like this is the kind of play that goes, it tries to prepare you a little bit more for the mid game as opposed to some big push, because it's kind of similar to the way that Oracle operates in this matchup. These Cloak Banshees where, you know, like, Dark, he can't really do Roaches or Ravager aggression right now. If he goes for Lings, there's Hellions to deal with the Lings, so Bunny's going to be able to get map control from this. He'll be able to pick off a couple of drones, getting 3 right now with the Banshee. He should be able to, if not destroy creep, at least stifle the progression of it a little bit, slow it down. And behind it, he's just going to be powering back up at home with, you know, double engineering base. He's adding in more barracks now. I think he has 3 in total already, going up to 5. So, yeah, it's just a nice powering macro build. And these 2 Hellions and the 2 Banshees give him a lot of breathing room.
So Stim is now done, but we're not going to see a push. Sorry. Excuse me. A little raspy over here. So Stim's done, but we're not going to have a push for a while. The 3rd CC lands. And, you know, again, we had these kind of moments of aggression. I think we've had 9 drones killed overall, which is not bad. It's not, doesn't match the cost of the Cloak and the 2 Banshees and the 4 Hellions that were made here. I think that Dark's in a slightly better position. That's not to say that Bunny has played poorly, but I think the build had to do a little bit more. I like what you were mentioning as well, State, that like these can be used to harass, to scout, Banshees are, to kill creep tumors, all of that great stuff. But again, you know, these games, for Terran at least, are won off of pushes.
Yeah, it tends to be the way that it goes, especially here in GSL so far this season. And, you know, maybe Bunny will be able to leverage this into, oh no.
Oh God.
Never mind.
Well, now here's the funny thing. Let's see how many SCVs are killed here and how this compares to the number of things that were killed earlier on.
Actually going for the siege tank a little bit greedy there. So
yeah.
we could have gotten a few more SCVs. In total, only 4 going to go down. I was really afraid we were going to get like 7, 8, maybe even 9 SCVs.
Yeah, I was going to say, look, he got more with those Lings than everything else that happened. So the push is going to come. It's going to be 1-1. Combat Shields is going to be done as well. We have seen moments today here with Dark and pushes where he's looked weak. Let's see if this is going to be one of those moments now.
Yeah, Marines now coming in to the 4th base. Keep in mind those Banshees brought it down to half HP. As ByuN's coming in on the siege tank, we'll be able to take care of that. Transfuses on the Ravagers and on the Queens. Now low on energy, but they were able to buy enough time with that healing to give Dark some space. But be careful not to overextend off creep as 1 Ravager does fall. And Bunny going to continue mounting the pressure now, pivoting towards the 12 o'clock position, adding in the armory. Does not want to have too much of a gap between upgrade timings here. And these Banshees, meanwhile, I mean, he's been getting great utility out of this. Look at that. During that attack, came into the 3rd base again, picked up two more drones, and oh no. I gotta say, Dark's biles today have just been
They're like the best ByuNs in the game. I mean, you know, a lot of times you see that, you know, I guess a bad way to put it, kind of a lazy ByuN, but you see them kind of put these ByuNs and spread them out to make the Marines have to move. But he's good at like basically putting a ByuN where it's like, okay, you're going to have to, you know, not be able to make a concave around me. You're going to have to back up so I can, then he saves ByuNs just so he can then ByuN the tank down. You know what I mean? I feel like when we first saw Ravagers compared to where we're at now, it used to be they just burn through all the ByuNs at once, kind of like as you're spamming out an ability. Where now you see like 1 or 2 ByuNs, and then the Marines move out of the way. Ravagers move in into that cavity they've created, ByuN the tank that was otherwise out of reach, and then pull back away.
I mean, Dark today's just been able to snipe siege tanks, medevacs, liberators, just all these key units with ByuNs so far, and on top of that also, I love the way that, you know, you described it, where he's not just going and throwing down a concave of ByuNs during these big engagements. It almost feels like it's a boss battle where it's like all these little dots on the map, and you have to dodge every single one of them. You can't just, you know, move your army in one location. You have to think a little bit about how you're going to do it, as we have a little bit of a skirmish here at the bottom left. Some Marines getting traded for some roaches, but it's good because usually when you go for this kind of scattered pattern,
yeah,
scatter pattern.
I
always do every single cast. There's at least one time where I'm fusing.
Where you Archon merge 2 words together.
Archon merging these 2 words.
Look, State Second Templars out, and he goes scattered and pattern.
Scattered pattern. But the way that he scatters it like this, Dark is almost always able to consistently get a couple of hits off on the Terran army in these engagements, more than the average Zerg would going for a concave or just going for, you know, like the big money shot on just like a group of siege tanks where you're trying to get like 2 or 3 of them down at once. And it's just been so good to watch here for Dark, but I mean, Bunny's playing a great game. Actually, a nice dodge there on the Infestor Fungal. Only a couple of unlucky Marines get caught, as Bunny now will be able to kite away back to safety. And both players maxed 120 army supply apiece.
And this is the play, basically, is he's just going to keep banking up these Fungals. It's going to be the Zerg's turn to move out on the map here. Now, there are a lot of tanks in this game. I actually didn't see the tank count. There's also a Nidus being made. So it's possible that he might jettison an Overseer down, and as the push comes out, he just blows the main up. But it's going to be Terran's time to attack in. This is probably one of the strongest pushes we've had all day. 2-2 done. Vehicle weapons level 1 done. A lot of tanks here.
Yeah, 10 tanks in total, and these Infestors very low on energy. I just want to remind everybody, by the way, these Banshees are still alive. They have not been repaired. They've been doing work this entire game. And all right, here we go. Dark coming in, pushes forward enough to get 1 siege tank, does snipe it out, but this is a lot of bio, Tasteless.
Okay. We have these tanks coming up here. The first hatchery falls. Zerg didn't really have a whole lot to say about that. Bunny's going to continue to push, and I got to say, I'm getting a little bit scared right now for Dark. I mean, he made quick work of that hatchery. He still has the position. He looks like he's debating going down, but instead he might try to come directly in and try to crack open what is the core position that Zerg has.
When Infestor gets picked off there by the siege tanks, nice catch, though. More siege tanks are falling. It's really just a bio ball here that's a strong force right now for Bunny, and without Fungals and Blinding Clouds, it becomes a more difficult engagement here with just Roaches, Ravagers, and Lings. I mean, this one Lurker doing work there in the back. Darkest would love to have a few more of those on the field right now, as actually he does over here by the left side of the ramp. And I think the position here for Dark is starting to solidify now that he has these Lurkers set up in a nice concave. The bio's coming in, but there is a lot here for Zerg. Although those Lings are going all the way up to the top, I feel like this might be a little bit of a miss micro.
Yeah, I think that the Dark has held this.
All right.
You know, I always wonder when I see stuff like this, I'm like, should Terran have just like backed up earlier?
Maybe.
Should they have just like pulled away?
I was really confused during that engagement, because I felt like if Dark just pounced on that position with all of those Lings that popped, he would have been able to just, you know, get a surround on everything and then maybe focus down some of the medevacs with Hydras, but instead, Bunny able to get away with a couple key units. Keep in mind, Viper's still in the field. Biles coming in on tanks yet again. All 3 of them here will fall. Only one more standing there by the orbital. It's a good trade overall for Bunny, but Dark has a massive bank, Tasteless.
Yeah, he does. I'm kind of surprised seeing all those Zergs down there, like trying to fire up with the tanks and the Ghosts, just, you know, staring them down. Well, they're both, you know, licking their wounds right now, trying to recover. The Nidus is done. I'm sorry, the Nidus has started. I guess this Nidus was killed off earlier. I got confused by the blink on the minimap.
I was confused by that one too.
Yeah. I don't know that anybody can make the next move too soon here. Terran is going to continue to crank out upgrades here, and it's going to basically be done with the infantry upgrade game in a little bit. Dark is having to continue to grow. Remember that the Zerg is basically, at this point in time, going to be growing towards the Terran, which they don't like. And so eventually Zerg needs to try to start to finish the Terran off. Otherwise, the Terran will survive that, be expanding slower to their free bases on their side of the map. Yeah, and we're going to have one of those kind of games.
I'm starting to like the position here for Bunny more and more, not just because of the supply, but 11 ghosts in total are on the field. And if you look at the army for Dark, he's very gas-starved, and he has no spellcasters besides those queens. It's 7 Hydras, a lot of those now being morphed into lurkers. He's going to have something like 15 lurkers in total on the field. He's not going to have that much to pair up with them, which it can work as a composition, but it's very difficult to do it. We'll see what he's able to get done. As a lot of lurkers here trying to siege down this planetary fortress. SCVs are going to come in to repair. That means all of them are going to fall there to the splash damage. So effectively just trading lurkers here for economy is Dark, as it's one of the saddest Niduses I've seen. Not a lot of units coming out of that. But I mean, look at the composition right now for Dark. He has 12 lings, 7 lurkers, nothing else on the field to attack. I mean, Bunny's army comp is just so much better. The army supplies are 115 to 60. And so I think Dark in this position, he kind of needs to buy himself some time. And I see that he's trying to do this with the Nidus Canals. He's trying to keep Bunny back at home, because Bunny, if he realized how weak Dark's army truly was, he would just be pushing right now, I think.
I think he's generated enough threats.
Oh, the drones are getting caught there on that extractor.
Yeah, not every day you see this in SC2. So he is going to get that dropped. Not the end of the world. But yeah, he's basically intimidated Bunny to pull back. But Bunny actually has more. I mean, Bunny could actually take this game.
I think he might. This army's looking really good, Tasteless. And with just lurkers on the field here for Dark, I mean, still no Vipers, no Infestors, 9 more lurkers being merped. So Dark has to make something happen here. But the Ghosts coming in, they just snipe down all of these lurkers here at the top base for Dark. Ooh. And yeah, there are lurkers spreading across the map and sieging all these different bases you see on the minimap. It's happening at the planetary as well, but is that going to be enough? Because I feel like the overwhelming force here for Bunny, if it just converges on Dark space, is going to be so hard to deal with. I feel like if Bunny comes back to his base and tries to put out all of these fires that Dark is creating, that might give Dark the space that he needs to start coming back, but look at that. Look at these ghosts.
It's actually crazy how many...
21 ghosts.
It's crazy how many little tiny fires are being set all over the map that Bunny has to come back and clean up. And he still hasn't cleaned them all up. There's this lurker just kind of in plain sight doing damage. Another night it starts. But again, you know, Bunny is the wrecking ball right now. If he can just recognize that, it may be beneficial to actually abandon some of these fires created on the map and just go and destroy your opponent entirely.
I think he's realizing it now. 20 plus ghosts coming in and just evaporating everything. Dark is going to try to cut off some reinforcements here in the middle of the map, and Bunny is going to fall back to try and deal with this. So perhaps confident enough that he's able to kill these lurkers, he should just be able to ride this one out to a win. And man, Bunny with some great control here. I mean, just the way that he's navigated this mid and late game here as Terran is so good. I mean, Dark seemed like he wasn't in that bad of a position, but a couple of bad trades didn't go his way, and Bunny able to fill out his entire tech tree, get all of these bases on his side of the map. And I mean, Dark, finally, I feel like we're reaching the point where he's not really able to start any more fires, and when the wrecking ball that is Bunny's army, 25 ghosts marches across the map. I mean, we almost have more ghosts than Zerglings in total. And that's like basically all that Dark has right now are lings.
Yeah, it's like 3 lurkers, well, 2 lurkers.
He's not even sniping, and he's killing lurkers with all these ghosts.
It's just... Ghosts are like hydras right now. I think we're going to go to game 2 here. I think that Bunny's basically done it, and he did it the right way. And, you know, you can see Dark relied on counterattacks, but then that backfired. And that's going to be it. GG.
GG gets
one.
called.
Beautifully done.
Yeah,
gotta
Bunny
say.
with just some fantastic late game there. I don't think we saw like almost any ghosts die at all over the course of that game.
Maybe one or two, but I want to sing Bunny's praises here because he looked great against Solar. He honestly looked even better against Dark. I don't think that Bunny had any bad moments in this game at all. Really, like Dark, I think he had the right idea with the counterattacks, but the reality is like there were enough ghosts in the game. Bunny, you know, I was saying maybe he should just go and actually fully counterattack. No, I think I'm actually wrong. I want to walk that back. I want to apologize to all the viewers.
No. I think you were right. Where he could have really won.
I think I'm actually wrong on this because I think I've seen enough games where I'm like, yeah, no, what you do want to do is counterattack and do that, and then the Terran actually dies. I think actually he was right. Just keep staying back and doing it because what is Dark counterattacking with? He's counterattacking with like lurkers. I don't know, other expensive stuff, right? And if he can just keep relying on the ghosts and using energy to kill that off, as long as there's something killing hatcheries, I think he's got it.
Yeah, it definitely simplifies the game.
I think he's got it. I think he might move on.
He might.
Which, by the way, this is unimaginable for me.
Well, he's
that
playing
Bunny would be Dark
very well. But I want to say also that like if we go back and we watch that game, if we hide the IDs of the players, I think you could tell that Zerg is good. But that Terran, you might think it's Maru. I mean, the way that he was able to play,
it did look like Maru,
especially later in the game, it just felt very Maru-esque. I mean, just building up this insane ball of ghosts and all these fires moving across the map. He's not panicking. He's not going for a base trade situation. He's just like, okay, I'm going to go back. I'm going to kill this. That will be cost inefficient for you. And then I will just come back stronger. And then I mean, if you want to try to put more fires on my side of the map, I'll do it again. Eventually, you're not going to have the gas and the minerals to actually fund all these lurkers. And that's basically what we saw there is Dark just completely out of economy to really support these expensive counterattacks. And Bunny now up 1-0, one map away from meeting Maru in the semifinals. We might have our third Terran in the top 4.
I think so. Royal Blood is going to be our second map here. Can Bunny 2-0 this, or is Dark going to even it up 1-1? Let's find out.
Mystery Gaming, Bunny.
Oh, tasteless. Look at this mini-map.
Oh,
look at the mini-map.
Two at once?
DKZ Gaming, Dark.
Why would you send two at once?
I don't know exactly.
Maybe
but I'm
maybe so that
excited.
one SUV can protect the from a drone.
Oh, you're kidding. Is he gonna proxy in the natural base?
Yeah, he is, and then he sends the other SUV. Oh, it's gonna be double. Wait,
I don't think this is gonna get spotted. I don't think I've seen two barracks proxied
I've never
at
seen
this
two.
location.
I've seen one. Hold on. You better not spot that.
This
You
is
better
so
not
cool,
spot that. Now, here's the
buddy.
thing. If he spots it though with two, you can just make the Marine.
I think it's
pop out
barely
on,
out of
in the back.
vision. I think it's like
Hold on.
it's one tile out of vision.
We'll see. It's like an eye test. I'm like, all right, is this a W
I think
or
it's
an
one
E?
tile out of vision. Is it? Is it one tile? He's not gonna see it.
One tile. One tile.
Oh, that
Oh,
is
my God.
tremendous. Oh man.
All right.
That's exciting.
Round of 4, go.
Maybe.
Yeah, we say that, but then okay, let's watch Dark's face cam here, because he's gonna find out.
He's not going to know until the hatchery is done, I think. If I'm Bunny, I'm realizing because there's been no SCV or no drone pool that he doesn't know yet. Bank the Marines, wait for the bunker, wait for the hatchery to be done, get that guaranteed kill on that hatchery as soon as it pops. Okay, never mind. I'm stupid. Go for it now.
Won't he cancel though now?
That's what I was thinking.
All right, no, okay, so I guess he knows. I guess there's a point of no return where it's like, all right,
yeah.
Roach Warren starts, second gas starts.
Oh, this is so cool. Dark, you know he's kicking himself. He knows that his Overlord just barely missed.
He knows his
spotting
hair is on
these
fire
two
right now.
Marines.
He's just got to. Oh my God.
Crazy build here.
One Marine stuck.
So okay, just wait. Oh, it can't even get in the. Oh, it can't get in the bunker.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, we know how this game works.
Yeah.
I thought the same thing. I'm like, there's no way he's got it left off now.
All right, Marine's now coming up. This Queen's going to pop here, the natural expansion, and just immediately get taken out, I think.
All right.
So Bunny's playing this so conservatively. I thought he would have just jumped on that.
I think he's going to get the Queen now.
Yeah.
The SCVs can't body block, but I think he he does get that shot. Okay, I mean, this is all so big.
This is a huge win here for Bunny. Back at home, building a factory, continuing SCV production. So this hatchery, it looks like it is going to fall.
Oh my God.
These roaches right now, the natural expansion, going to try and morph one of them into a Ravager, getting that extra armor. Can't morph that one, doesn't have the gas to morph the second.
Close. But the Ravager's got to finish.
Yeah, the Ravager will finish.
Hold on.
This hatchery's going down though, Tasteless.
He's going to go for the counter. What's actually back at home?
It's going for
a tank?
Tech Lab. Could be tank?
Cyclone,
maybe? Yeah, one or the other. We'll see what the choice is going to be. And yeah, it's going to be the Cyclone here.
Oh, he can get this Overlord.
Just a crazy game. Oh, he's already supply blocked.
Okay,
Three Overlords
Dude,
in production.
I actually just forgot the Overlord's even out there.
Oh, this is a disaster here for Dark. I want to take a shot at the natural expansion. I think it's just one Roach or just one Ravager attacking the wall in there, maybe trying to kill the depots. And these Roaches, they will be able to pick off a good number of these Marines. So this is getting whittled down a little bit. We might reach the point where Dark is able to siege down the bunkers at the natural and retake the hatchery, but I feel like Bunny from this is getting so far ahead. And also, what is the answer here to the Cyclone, right?
Yeah, I guess the Cyclone can basically come up here and actually aid the bunker, or I guess the Marines now. Well, where is the Cyclone now? It's coming up, right?
Yeah, it's almost here. It's just behind this Roach, and so the Marines are going to get cleaned up, and I guess there really isn't a good answer to the Cyclone until Speed is done, but Bunny doesn't know exactly when Speed is going to finish, so he might be a little bit timid here with a Cyclone. We'll see. Going to see what value he can find.
I guess he's got enough that he can kind of overwhelm the Cyclone. The Cyclone doesn't have enough tools at its disposal to really fight this, but what about two Cyclones?
A second Cyclone, and Dark is going all in, I think. He's continuing Link production, and this actually might turn around where Dark is able to bust down Bunny, because all those barracks, they have to fly back home. There's a Hellion in production. I was thinking we might have a siege tank back at home, but instead it's just these two Cyclones. So, yeah, Bunny's recognizing the situation. He's walling in.
Are these barracks landing to block the Zerg in, by the way, on the minimap?
Oh, they might be. Yeah, there's no hatchery. There is no hatchery here for Dark. He is on one base. So this is do or die right now for Dark. If Bunny wins this game, he is going to the semifinals, but we might be going to a Game 3, Tasteless. A lot on the line right now. There is a bunker here, but nothing really to garrison in it. Supply depots taking a lot of damage.
The SCVs are going to be pulled here. He's still able to use those Cyclones to block this off. Some Links come, but the Hellion's doing a good job so far.
Well, Cyclone's still alive. That one's solo on HP. Eventually does get taken out by the Ravager. Banshee's about halfway done, and Dark just somehow powering his way through.
Man.
An insane game.
I really enjoyed this. All right, GG. He lifts off. He's like, no, I'm getting out of here. Oh, you can see him grabbing his hair.
Yeah, I think he could have won that one. I think if he didn't go for the command center, if he goes for, siege tanks back at home and just focuses on the defense, I think that he probably had a similar idea to, at least what I was thinking, is that Dark is going to make enough units to break out of the contain, kill the bunkers of the natural base, and then build another hatchery and play from there. And so Bunny was trying to preempt that by already going for the command center, but just a little bit too greedy. And Dark just making the right play call, going completely all in off of one hatchery. And that was a crazy game, man. I feel like Dark is probably, among all of the Zergs in the world, in my opinion at least, the best at navigating these absolutely insane scenarios where there's like two barracks that go unscouted in his natural base that kill the queen, that kill the hatchery, and still he's able to make all of the right calls to get a win. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, Cyril's an amazing player. Rainer's an amazing player. There's so many great Zergs in the world. I mean, Solar, another Zerg player here in the GSL right now. Fantastic. But when you get into these very strange situations, I don't think there's any Zerg I would choose in the world over Dark.
I agree with that. I feel like Dark really knows how to comfortably get ahead. And, I mean, talk about getting blindsided.
Yeah.
That was literally, like, he finds out it's happening the second it starts. Like, the hatchery is like, what, it's 98% done, and the Marines start to damage it. and still knows to run the roaches by, knows to morph the Ravagers. Bunny's shaking his head, thinking, man, I might be going down to the losers match. What do I have now? Something tells me that was the big ace up his sleeve.
I think so. That was certainly a tricky play there, man. That was something he had cooked up special here for Dark. But now it's match point. Winner of this match will be going on to face Maru in the semifinals. Who will it be? Will it be another Terran? Will it be a Zerg joining our Terrans? Buddy or Dark are going to advance tasteless.
Mystery Gaming, Bunny.
What a fun day it's been so far.
It's been so good.
Really thrilling games. Bunny's looking good too.
DKZ Gaming, Dark.
Yeah, he looks great in late game. I like the prepped cheese as well. I mean, that was a really good rush that we saw. I almost feel like you can't even call that cheese as much as just like such a cool rush. You know, it's man.
It's cheese, but it's like one of the really high-class
It's a very
cheese.
nice, fine cheese. It's very smelly cheese.
Yeah, it's
good,
one of the
good
ones they roll out of the cart at like a 3 Michelin star restaurant
That's
in
right.
France.
You go, ooh, what is this? And you go, it pairs with this wine that's incredibly expensive.
The wine that is Bunny's late game, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, this game, it's barracks and gas. We may just have a command center thrown down a little bit later. I mean, look, the truth is Bunny did win in a pretty dramatic game for game one. Okay, the rush doesn't work. Whatever. Let's try something else.
I think just going to go back to his bread and butter a little bit. Come through with another Reaper expand here is Bunny. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him play relatively conservatively here heading into the mid game and just try to set up for that supreme late game situation again, because you know the style that Dark has been showing so far today, where he's playing more roach heavy, more Ravager heavy. When he's mixing in the high tech units, it's usually 2 at a time, some at most 4. He's really been playing with low Infestor counts. He's been playing with low Viper counts, and I think if you're Bunny, you know, you see that and you're like, all right, your army, it's good in the here and now. It's not something that scales really well into the late game. It's also not something that has an easy time attacking into a fortified position. And so maybe if Dark goes for the same play style, the same approach, Bunny identifies that and just goes back to basically what his game plan was there in game number 1, which is, you know, try to, when you have windows of opportunity to get damage done, go for them, but don't overstay your welcome. Don't play too greedy in terms of aggression. Don't overextend. And eventually play for that late game, and I mean, he's already gearing up for it. That's a really fast 3rd CC. Very greedy play here. I don't think that we're going to see any big pressure coming out from Dark to punish this, so Bunny should be heading into the mid game with, you know, a pretty solid economy.
So, you know, Dark, I want to go back to that last game 1. I mean, what do we really think he did wrong in that? Because I have a hard time looking at that and really knowing. It seems like he was doing okay.
I feel like the difficulty was that his army composition just wasn't good at breaching a Terran position. It was really Roach Ravager heavy. He didn't have the Lings to kind of flood in and disperse the splash damage coming in from the tanks. And yeah, he was able to bile, but it just the cost-efficient trades were not there. It was almost similar to the problem that Solar had in one of his games earlier, where he was in a commanding position and then he comes in through with an attack and massive overextension. That time it was with Lingbane. With Dark, I feel like it was with Roach Ravager. And Bunny, behind it, he lost only 1 set of critical units, which was the tanks. But the entire time, he was adding on to his army with ghosts. Just trickling them in time after time. I think we might have seen like maybe 2 or 3 ghosts fall all game long. By the end of it, he had like almost 25. And once Terran gets into a position like that, unless you have, you know, the supreme army is Zerg, where you have all these bases, you have static defense, you have Infestors, you have Vipers, Brood Lords, you know, the ideal late game comp, it's so difficult to deal with it. I mean, Lurkers, we saw there, they absolutely did not cut it. They would just get sniped out, and the ghost count actually got so high that he was using it, as you said, like Hydralisks, just right-clicking down the Lurkers, which is not something you see every day. So
I guess when you go for that Roach Ravager Infestor style, it works if you do what ByuN does, where ByuN's like, I have to kill you. And then you go, gotcha, and you wipe the army out. But Bunny didn't really do that. He's like, oh, what? He's like infestors. So he just runs back home. And then I think you don't have, especially when you're maxed out on Roach Ravager, Zerg does enter into a problem when they're on that for too long. Like, it's great to trade out against even really buffed out armies, but like, if they have to sit on that, it's really bad. So then they have to start looking for their own fights, and they're just not going to get good fights. Not into siege tanks and stim marines and ghosts especially.
Yeah, and that was also the map where we saw ByuN go for his push with siege tanks and marines onto that third, and that failed, despite the fact that it looked really good. So it's just one of those maps where it's kind of difficult to make these big breaches happen, not only for the Terran, but also for the Zerg if you're rolling with that kind of army composition. And so we'll see exactly how Dark is going to play, if he's going to go for a similar style, because although it did have its problems, it still looked good, and he is popping roaches out right now to try to deal with this marine attack coming out from Bunny, and I like this one, Tasteless.
Okay, this is pretty sick.
Yeah, this is a big move.
This is like what ByuN did, only it might end up being even better. Now, he's not quite getting the pick. Well, now he's getting the picks on the queens. Yeah,
he's just trading these ones out. He's going to get a lot of drones as well, and this is reminiscent of that game we had earlier. Actually, man, that's an even better trade than I thought it was going to be. I thought with the roaches that Dark would be able to clean up the lings, and, you know, he would lose the queens, but still be in an okay position. But he actually has 0 queens right now on the field. It's 6 roaches in total. We don't know how many more are in production, but these Marines got so much more value. I was expecting really something more reminiscent of what we saw with, I think it was ByuN earlier.
Yeah.
Where, you know, they trade, and then we progress on. I didn't think it would be such a pivotal moment.
Okay, so how many queens are actually in the game right now?
0.
There's 0 queens.
4 now in production.
This is not a monarchy right now. I guess it can't be a
no, it's not a
There's multiple.
It's no longer a matriarchy.
That's right. It's not a
the
matriarchy.
The roach proletariat has risen up.
This is a bro fest right now. But now he's got the stim marines with medevacs, which means anytime it gets uncomfortable, he leaves, and anytime he thinks he can eke out more damage, he just forces in.
Yeah, there's really no anti-air on the field at all for Dark to shoo away these medevacs. So Bunny just kind of has a lot of options in terms of how he wants to approach this game aggressively. And keep in mind, when we had that game between Dark and the Terran player earlier, when his queen count got reset, he didn't rebuild any of them because he still had 2. And that was enough injects with 4 hatcheries to keep building roaches and ravagers. But this time he had to remake up to 4 because he went down to 0, so he needed to catch up there on injects. And as a result, this army coming out from Dark isn't going to be quite as strong as it was before. That's a lot more minerals invested into queens as opposed to into drones, into roaches, into ravagers. And that means there might not be as much counterplay coming out from the Zerg player. And I mean, look at it right now. Terran already had overall and workers going for a 4th command center, but comfortable enough to build that 4th command center on the low ground, not even going to be lifting it.
He just fits it right in there and moves right into that 4th base. And there's a lot of production here. The tanks were never overexposed, and so they didn't get a lot of damage. It looks like the target's still going to be this base up at 12. And look, he's still trading out nicely.
I think this has to be the target just because there's no creep spread here at all. So you have so much room to kite through. I mean, you just kind of poke and prod with these small forces of bio, and Zerg, they have to do something about it. They have to engage, and then you just micro back off of creep, and you take these very small but very cost-efficient engagements. And it is Dark going back into the Infestation Pit and Baneling Nest now, so he is playing generally more Ling heavy than we have seen him play today.
Yeah, well, I think he's made the right adjustment. But Terran is ahead in supply. Terran, I think, you know, Bunny in general, by the way, just not going to commit until he knows it's time. He's going to have a really healthy tank count, and that was the big feature of the game-winning move in Game 1, was there were so many tanks that it's like, what are you going to do now? You know, how long can you stay here and fight if the tanks are not all killed off? And we've got a lot of Ravagers, but I think we're going to have, we have not as many tanks as I thought. We have 5 total? Is it
5, but he's pumping them out now. He has 2 factory going at a time. And he's going to stick this, I think. And yep, that's going to be that hatchery going down. Nice bio connections. Will get some compensation there with bio falling, but oh wait, you got to fix that. fix that extractor. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's super scary, right? Because it's
Yeah.
like, well, now you're actually just on 2 bases.
Well,
It doesn't matter if you have a third, but if they're all on the gas.
Yeah. Yeah, he pulled him away from attack, so just a little bit of micro there. Try to get them all the way to the corner where they would be safe in that base. But this Terran army is looking mighty strong, Tasteless. I mean, the fact that we have so many Roaches and Ravagers on the field, in addition to these Lings, and the army supplies are still even, and okay, so Dark is going to try and force the engagement here off without Terran being sieged, but the Terran army is actually just so strong right now.
Yeah, he needs to make sure these tanks can cover each other a little bit better. But, I mean, he's got tanks that are just, you know, they're rolling right now.
Yeah, Bunny's playing with a lot of confidence. Maybe a little bit too much here, as these trades aren't as cost efficient as they could be, but the Ling count just completely reset. It's almost pure Ravager right now with 2 Infestors here.
It's so funny. For a little bit, I'm like, is that just tanks fighting? And then the medevac's movement, I'm like, oh no, there's Marines there. Okay, he's all right. But Terran's going to try to edge in. Is this an overextension? I mean, he's going to try to fight back. Look how well spread the tanks are. He gets 1 set of bios up long enough to kill off a tank, but another tank is already here to replace it.
Medevac count also very high here, so lots of healing coming through, and I don't think this is much of an overextension at all, as long as he continues to inch forward here. I mean, there is no creep
He's
spread.
ditching it. He just pulled all the drones away.
Yeah.
He's going to give it up. Now, this is like a pro-level move. I think it might still be Dark losing, but like just to know, like, no, I see this. If I try to stick it out here, I'm gonna die out. And by the way, there's not a really good spot for the Terran to push from here. The creep spread is actually really good.
Yeah, after sacking that base, the creep spread suddenly becomes a little bit less of a problem, although that might change with Bunny killing the only remaining creep swimmer on that side of the map. And Bunny now on 5 bases. I mean, he continues to power up now, fully maxed. This army here for Dark, it is strong if he can get good fungal connections, but I'm worried, Tasteless. I mean, the siege tank count, it's getting so high. Liberators are now entering the field. We have 9 medevacs in total. Ghost production has begun. And if Bunny is smart about the way that he takes these engagements, I don't think that Dark is ever going to get the combination of fungals and biles and baneling connections that he needs to actually trade cost efficiently with such a highly developed Terran army, because really this is Bunny putting all of the pieces together. This is exactly the setup that you want to have as a Terran player going up against a Zerg here in the mid game.
Well, I mean, he's reached pretty far. It's kind of scary to watch him go through the slow zone here.
What a play! What a play!
That is insane!
The bile there on the cooling tower. That's like 50 supply just wiped out.
I can't even believe it. I almost.
Oh, wow.
I was looking at it, I'm like, wait a minute.
it's like a trap from Indiana Jones.
Yeah. I cannot believe that.
All right, well, those are the kind of wins that Dark needs.
It's the best play in the last several years, man.
Yeah, look at the unit count right now. It's 4 Marauders and 6 Marines. So that the bio count just got almost completely reset. I think that even caught Bunny off guard, even as he saw the biles falling. As this is one of those maps that has, we were talking about this, I think, in the first day of GSL, where here on Neo Humanity, you know, all the cooling towers, they share the same health pool. And if you kill one of them, they all collapse in on each other.
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, sometimes we see players use that to try and close the section off. Dark actually using it to get a military advantage. Very cool play there. That equalizes things just a little bit. I mean, there was a lot of momentum behind Bunny, but he had to eat a little bit of his bank to replenish the forces there. His bio count just plummeted, but I mean, still, a lot of the critical units here.
You like look up in the air. I'm like, what are you going to say, State? Like, oh no, no, this was crazy. Look, he's actually now. Well, hold on. I think Bunny's kind of still closing in, though. I don't think the Bunny can grow out to the upper right, but I think he can keep growing into the bottom left. Anywhere he's going to push, whatever's adjacent to that, he can cover. Yeah,
so Bunny lost a little bit of momentum there because, I mean, his bio count basically got reset by an absolutely baller play. But you know, the ghost count, it's still rising. He's up to 7 ghosts now. The siege tank count is still healthy. It's at 6. There's liberators and medevacs that have been untouched thus far, but Dark has been able to buy himself a considerable amount of time to start adding in Vipers, start building in at least a little bit of a bank here. The question is whether he's going to get the engagements that he needs to actually breach some positions like this one. And all right, here we go. Bile's coming in. We'll be able to take out both a siege tank and a liberator. Blinding Cloud also, and Bunny's going to have to forfeit this position, I think, Tasteless. This is a huge win for Dark.
Yeah, Dark is fighting back really nicely, but Bunny is getting so big on the map, I almost feel like that's the real story here.
It is, yeah.
Is like, you know, eventually he's going to have such an engine behind him. I didn't even realize until just then that hatchery was being remade. I thought that was actually finished, the one in the middle. And so, I mean, we're getting to the point where, like, there's actually literally no more bases that Bunny could take, realistically. But, I mean, the money is just coming in. One Ghost going to come in here. All right, that was never going to work, but...
I'm surprised the EMP didn't go off. I wonder what happened there. He did the scan, so he saw the Viper there with the Ghost, but maybe some hockey missteps.
Okay, so
and, oh, look at the mini-map right now, Tasteless. Big counterattack coming over here to the third base of Bunny.
Yeah, does he have enough to actually just defend this?
I think so. We might have a couple of siege tanks and Ghosts going down, but it should be defended. Meanwhile, Bunny continuing the pressure over here on the left side. Dark really starved to try and get any resources, you know, from any of these bases that actually have full minerals. I mean, he's been struggling for a very long time. This hatchery in the middle now finally compete. Ultralisks are being added in for the Zerg player, as well as Ultra armor coming through. And I think that Dark's going to need a couple more highly cost-efficient trades because the economy right now just isn't there for him.
Well, he's going to try to come through now. The problem is when there's this many Ghosts, this is when the Terran player can basically start to snipe everything. And whenever you're trading out energy for anything that costs minerals and gas, it's always the best trade. So here we go again. Oh, no, I guess he's going to get out of range. But, I mean, Bunny, again, it's not what I want to call, but I feel like Bunny is playing a little bit better, to be honest here.
He is definitely in a better position, but I gotta say, Dark has been doing a great job of using this kind of hard to manage unit composition to continuously breach the positions that Bunny is trying to set up outside of this base here on the left side. I mean, if this hatchery goes down, I suppose now that the middle hatchery's been completed and the top right base is also being taken here for Dark, it wouldn't be as catastrophic as have some counterattacks coming in.
I love this. He just like makes one planetary there. He's like, well, you're at least going to have to work for it. Pull it up!
Nope. Not going to get lifted. All right, lots of connections here with the Ghosts on these Ravagers, taking them out. And this base almost certainly will be eliminated here. And
you know, this time, Bunny, I thought he was going to go back and really try to defend. And, you know, like he did in game one. But this time he's just going to try to shove through. And there's really nothing here to defend for the Zerg.
No, that's...
I mean, this is actually kind of a crazy moment. Oh my God, are these drones going to go right into the nuke? I guess they're going to be killed off beforehand, but you get what I'm saying. Well, Terran has more to give away, I should say.
Yeah, a lot of bases going down for Terran, but I mean, this is going to be the third hatchery here for Zerg that goes down, and 2 of these hatcheries are full mining bases. And Zerg is at 60 workers, Terran at 40. Terran with a larger standing army overall right now. But 15 Ghosts right now is the main story for me, Tasteless.
Yep.
The army for Zerg, it's primarily Ling Banelings, 70 Lings, about 30 Banelings in total on the field. There's just this one Ultra over here in the center of the map. We'll be able to take out one tank, this other Ultra over here on the right side. And eventually, Bunny's going to stabilize back at home, and he's going to be able to start mining from these bases again. And then I feel like the push is going to come towards Dark. And I'm wondering if Dark's going to be able to control the situation because that Ghost count, it just keeps getting higher, up to 15 now. 5 siege tanks as well. And also keep in mind, behind all of this, not only a base has been falling for Dark, but the creep spread has almost been completely reset.
Okay, the attack's going to come in.
The fumble's
That's
huge!
so good. Those Ghosts, so many go down. Hold
Fungal.
on. Can Dark do it? I don't know, man. There's so much back over here.
That Fungal was absolutely massive, about the best you could possibly hope for, but the Cloak Ghost now, there's no answer for them on the ground.
And he can start to race up here and pick off these 2 bases.
Only Lings in production right now for Dark. He has nothing but Lings and 2 Infestors in total on the field. And
but maybe enough Lings can overpower this.
Possibly, but I mean, with so many Ghosts and so many Medivacs, I don't think they're going to be able to get the surface area they need.
Yeah, he's going to be able to get behind the minerals if he needs to, too.
This army, it's so powerful, it's so compact and tasteless. We might have our 3rd Terran heading to the top 4.
My God.
Bunny just playing a beautiful game here, a beautiful series against Dark. I mean, this was a well-earned win. And that's going to be it, man. Bunny advancing first in the round of 8. Group B will meet Maru in the semifinals.
I got to say, man, I mean, these
boy.
Terrans have really figured out how to take these Zergs on.
Yeah.
It really is an inspiring moment to see how they're approaching this. Like, he knew exactly, okay, I'm up in bases, and you're counterattacking me with Ultralisks.
Right.
And a lot of Lings and some Banes. Okay, that's it. I'm going to kill off what you've got. I've got Ghosts. I can come back. I'm going to have energy. I could try to recover my bases. And then he did the next push up to the top right. And at that point in time, if Dark can't deal with it, there's just nothing else you can do. Bunny showing so much patience here. And then also knowing exactly when you don't need to be patient anymore. You can end it.
Yeah, he did both of that in this series. In Game 1, remember.
And he almost won in Game 2. He could have almost cheesed him out.
Yeah.
Bunny, congratulations. He says thank you. So you made it to the semifinals again. You defeated very formidable opponents. How do you feel?
너무 어려운 조에 속했어가지고.
So this was not an easy bracket for me.
진출까지는 그렇게 크게 기대는 안 했는데.
I wasn't really sure I would make it out of my group at first. Guess you could say I prepared well enough. Also, I think I was a little bit lucky today too.
상대 멀티 바로 왼쪽에다 투병력 짓는 거에 벙커 지어졌을 때 제가 그
The match against Dark.
걸어서 제 판단 안 됐을 거라고. 거의 막 올라갔다 생각해서 막 심장 두근두근
You had a 2-Rex in his natural. Your heart must have been beating so fast when I was hiding there. What was that like?
짓는 거를 건설한 본 순간 아 이건 이겼다 딱 한 순간 충이 좀 풀리더라고요.
As soon as I saw his hatchery build, I thought, okay, this is going to be mine to win. But I had so many mistakes. I ended up folding that game. Let's talk about Game 3 against Dark. That must have been so much pressure on your shoulders. So, I thought in Game 2, after I was so confident I was going to win that, I was really disappointed. But so on Map 3, I had a special build prepped, and that build mapped out nicely for me.
그 경기를 봤기 때문에 오히려 방금 그 이재 선수의 승자전 경기에서
Dark, you showed a really amazing performance against ByuN.
민수랑 하면서 연습이 많이 됐어요.
Did you pick up any ideas in that matchup?
민수 덕에
Sorry, the first match against Solar.
아 그래요.
Because of that matchup,
1위로 진출을 했지만
I think I had an idea of how I should try to respond against Zerg.
예, 어떠세요? 이번에는 좀 다르잖아요.
So you made it to the semifinals first, but you're going to be up against Maru. What is your thoughts on this? Well, Maru's, of course, a world-class opponent. But I always have this hunger to win on offline stages. And I think whenever I play against Maru, we always make some fun games.
와, 진짜 멋집니다.
I don't want to have easy opponents anyways. I would like to go against a good opponent, and I think my fans will enjoy that. So I'm satisfied and actually happy that it's tomorrow. Any words to the fans? We made it to the semifinals again. I've got big hopes for this tournament. I hope that those of you will come down and cheer for me and enjoy the semifinals. All right, well, congratulations again, Bunny. He says thank you. And there you go.
Great
dude,
series there from Bunny.
I know we were joking, like, please, TVT. But honestly, like, you got to be happy with Bunny winning there. And against Dark. And, we are seeing kind of Maru and Dark, who are, the big shots of this big shot league. They're getting outclassed here by some of these other players. Maru got out second in his group. Cure got out first. And then it's like Bunny beats Dark. This is kind of cool to see. The landscape is slowly shifting here. These guys that were always overshadowed by the dominant other players of their race, Maru and Dark being superstars, now they're kind of taking the spotlight.
Yeah, a lot of these Terran players stepping up here in the first season of 2023.
We're going to go to a break. We'll be right back.